YouTube live show. Start.
Okay. Yes, Swaminarayan. Good morning to everyone. Warm welcome to this special webinar organized by HariPrabodham Mumbai. In this seminar, we will explore artificial intelligence, how it can empower professionals even beyond the IT world. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Mr. Ritesh Bhai Chandra, who is a distinguished finance professional, academic, and educator, who has been instrumental in helping HariPrabodham Mumbai conceptualize and conduct this seminar. We sincerely thank Ritesh Bhai for his support and continued association with our initiatives like this. Ritesh Bhai is an alumni of IIT Kanpur and IIM Calcutta, and also a CFA charter holder. With over 2 decades of professional experience spanning risk management, banking, analytics, and technology, he brings a rare combination of practical insight and academic depth. On the academic front, Ritesh Bhai has a very strong footprint in teaching artificial intelligence, machine learning, and quantitative finance. He is a member of the Board of Studies in Finance Management IMT, a visiting faculty at the Indian Institute of Banking and Finance, and a lecturer at the Indian Institute of Quantitative Finance. He regularly delivers workshops and training programs on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and risk analytics. And he's been very helpful in help to the professionals to bridge the gap between business understanding and data-driven decision making. In today's seminar, we will focus, as Ritesh Bhai will help us to understand what AI really means for professionals outside of IT, why AI matters today, because it's transforming finance, operations, compliance, risk, and of course, technology, and how each of you can start using AI tools in your own work, even without a technical background. And finally, how to adopt AI responsibly. Why this seminar matters to all of us, irrespective of whatever work we do, whether it's risk, treasury, audit, HR, operations, etc. Understanding AI can help to work smarter, to stay relevant, and become a bridge between business teams and technology teams, which is a growing role of growing importance and strategic importance. So I hope that in today's seminar, we'll all walk away with a couple of takeaways. One, a clear understanding of at least one AI or ML concept relevant to our domain, one practical tool or idea that we can apply within 30 days, and one mindset shift that AI is not a threat, but it's an opportunity. So once again, thank you very much, Ritesh Bhai Chandra, for his guidance and collaboration with HariPrabodham Mumbai in bringing this event to life. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ritesh Bhai Chandra. Over to you, Ritesh Bhai. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna Bhai, and thank you, Nishkam Bhai. Thank you, everyone. And a very good morning to all of you that you took time to join us on a Sunday morning. And first of all, a big gratitude for allowing me to come here and share my thoughts. And why I say that, because I am not someone who has a very, how shall I put it, I don't have an educational background, say in artificial intelligence. I did a traditional BTech and then I did my MBA, like one of those three idiots. You remember that movie where Amir Khan says that those people who first do engineering and then do MBA. So I am one of those idiots. I got exposed to artificial intelligence only a few years ago, I think around COVID time. Before that, I did not even have any clue that something like AI or machine learning existed. And I have been trying to, I would say I'm still grappling with things. I'm still trying to learn, unlearn, and relearn. But over the last couple of years, what I have realized is that something transformative is happening. When I use the word transformative, I use it with a lot of responsibility. AI is going to transform or change the entire human society in very fundamental ways. And the more I learn about its impact, the more I learn about the use cases, stronger is my belief. I am also a very, very big believer of the fact that despite what mainstream media or international media says, India might be a huge player and a very big beneficiary of the AI transformation. I will explain probably later during this webinar why I say so. But before we start, let's come straight to the point why many of you have come and joined this session. Because every day we are reading in newspapers of how AI is going to disrupt the job market. All of us have heard the recent story of layoffs, whether it is Amazon, whether it is IBM, whether it is Microsoft, Google, Facebook, or Indian companies as well. So the story of what is happening at TCS or what is happening at other Indian companies is well known. And it's very natural. If you look at any data, uh, it will tell you that a lot of layoffs are happening. It tells you that many of the existing roles would be taken over by AI. And it is very natural to feel anxious when these things happen. For example, uh, I can feel this in a very personal way. So, my son is currently studying in school, and I always think about what kind of a world he would get out into when he completes his education. Are we imparting him the right skills or not? So I can understand and the anxiety, that concern that you have, whether you are an early career professional, whether you are a mid-career professional, whether you are a student. A lot of change seems to be going around, and many a times people have no clue in terms of how to respond to that. Now, having said that, I'm not saying that I have any perfect answers to any of your questions, but I do have certain viewpoints, certain vantage points, certain perspectives based on how my interaction with people, based on what I read, based on what I see happening around, and probably that is what I am going to share today. So, a common issue is whether you are a student, whether you work in IT, you work in sales, marketing, manufacturing, banking, finance, accounts. Every day you are seeing these headlines about artificial intelligence, which will automate all the jobs, and people will face mass unemployment. In fact, there are people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and a gentleman named Jeffrey Hinton. He's supposed to be the godfather or the pioneer of artificial intelligence. He was awarded the Nobel Prize a couple of years ago. And he has been one person who has been very strongly advocating against the disadvantages or the dangers of AI and how it might lead to large scale job disruptions and how it can lead to mass unemployment. So you have some very, very distinguished people who have been talking a lot about the dangers of AI if it is not regulated in the correct manner. And I agree with that perspective that it needs to be regulated. But at the same time, it's not only doom and gloom. Looking at the headlines, you might think that everything is going to come to an end, but that is not the case. And why I'm saying this? Because very similar things have happened in the past. Okay, this might sound a bit unrealistic, but if you go back in history, if you look at what happened, say, 200 years ago, what happened, say, 100 years ago, and if you look at the writings of those times, books written by people, speeches given by people, what appeared in news reports at that point of time, you would find a lot of similarity with what is being said today versus what had happened in the past. Like, if you go to the period of 19th century, when industrial revolution was gaining ground and a lot of manual labor was being replaced with automated machinery in the manufacturing sector, especially, people were very concerned. In fact, there were large-scale protests. Groups of people attacked the factories. They broke down the machine. They uh, broke the machineries because everyone felt that, oh, if the machine comes, then what will happen to human labor? What will happen to human worker? What will happen to their wages and salaries? And people had this worry that automation will completely wipe out the skilled manual people, say someone who was doing weaving, or someone who was making pottery, or someone who was doing embroidery. More recently, if you look at 80s and 90s, when personal computers were being rolled out, again, there was a widespread panic about this technology-driven unemployment, where people said that uh, everyone is going to lose their job. Things like typing, stenography, all of this would become redundant, and what will happen to people? So, whenever there is a technology-led disruption, does it impact people? Of course it does. There is no two thoughts about that. Because there is a disruption, there is a change in what kind of job roles are available in the market. But if you look at the long term, it always seems to have worked out well. And again, I mean, you might say, why do you say that if it has worked out well in the past, it will work well even this time? Of course, I don't have any astrological powers as such. But if you look at the arc of history, you will realize that whenever the new technology comes, some roles become redundant because they are being taken over by technology, of course. But at the same time, new ones would emerge. Until now, what we have seen is that the new roles are more than enough to offset the roles that we lost. Look at the computer revolution or the computer PC industry. Arrival of computers did not end work. It simply changed the nature of work, and it kick-started the entire IT industry. You had millions of jobs in software development, in data management, the kind of job profiles which, if you would have spoken to someone about those kind of jobs in 1970s, people would have thought you are mad. Okay. And the same thing might probably also happen with AI. So in fact, all the reports show this contradiction. On one hand, they are saying that a lot of existing job roles would get automated, which is a very nice way of saying that people who are in that existing job role, they are going to get impacted. Would they also lose their jobs? Yes, they would. Let's be very honest about it. But the big message that I want to convey to all of you is that instead of getting anxious about it, we should also realize the opportunity. Whenever something new happens, it is very normal to get all worked up, to feel anxious, to feel, oh, what will happen now? The old way of doing things is changing. But believe me, it is also going to present you with a lot of opportunities. If you ask me what AI would do in the future, my first answer would be it is going to be one of the biggest boosters of productivity that we would have ever seen in human history. It would rank the same as, say, electricity or as the Industrial Revolution or the invention of personal computers. It is going to be a huge productivity booster. The point is, when those new job roles emerge, things like how to work ethically with AI, or how to have these hybrid roles where it is not where it is not 100% human being doing the job, but a hybrid tech and human role. The question is how well you are prepared in terms of those skill sets. So the message which I want to convey, the first message which I want to convey is don't bother too much about what you are reading all around. The threat is real. But even if AI is going to lead to a large scale job disruption, the only way to fight it out is to reskill yourself. Because we are already seeing a lot of new job roles emerging. If you look at the job descriptions that appear on LinkedIn, compared to what those job descriptions were, say, 5 years ago, you will find a fundamental change in that. So, my message to all of you would be start building the right skills today, irrespective of which stage of your life you are in. It does not matter. Whether you are a student, whether you are an early career professional, whether you are a mid-career professional, start building the right skills, start becoming AI literate, and many of you will find that this potential challenge can actually lead to new opportunities over a period of time. So that's the first big message which I have for all of you. Instead of succumbing to panic, just look at the opportunity which is around the corner. Okay. Now let's get into more details. Let's do a deep dive in terms of what is happening in the job market. And we call this section the Great Shift. Which jobs are going, which jobs are growing, and why that is happening. This will help you understand what is happening at a more granular level. See, when you look at how AI is transforming jobs, you will realize that existing jobs can be broadly categorized under two headings. The first heading is, or the first category is those jobs which are highly exposed to AI. When I say highly exposed, I mean AI can completely automate that job, or AI can augment that task. Meaning, if 100% of the task was today performed by the human being, AI will take over 50-60% of that. And then you have the other category of jobs which are relatively less exposed. Now, irrespective of the category, the kind of skills which people require for any job, that is continuously evolving with time. Because technology, broadly speaking, is moving. It's evolving. The problem is that many of us, especially in a country like India, where a large part of the workforce is involved in service activities, we are a bunch of educated people who are working in service-oriented work. That is something where AI transformation is happening at a very, very fast pace. The so-called white-collar jobs, the MBAs, the business analysts, the financial analysts, the credit analysts, people who work in BPOs, KPOs, work which we have traditionally linked to education and intellect. That work is getting impacted by AI in a dramatic fashion. And that is probably why we find it so concerning. So you have these two different types of jobs. For the first category, those which are highly exposed to AI, software coding. Why? Think about the earlier skill that you required in coding. So because of someone who is an old person like me, I still remember in early 2000s, there was a time when US companies would hold these job fairs in some five-star hotel in Bangalore. The only question they will ask you is, do you know Java? Can you write basic Java? Do you know what a class is? Do you know what an object-oriented programming is? If you would say yes, they would say, okay, let us take you to US. So that was the time that you had 15, 20 years ago, where where you were required to know some basic stuff, do manual coding, debugging, testing. How has that got transformed today? Because today you have these generative AI tools like a GitHub Copilot, which can generate a lot of code. So the skills that are required from a programmer today or from an IT professional today are very, very different from the skills that would have helped you, say, 15 years ago. Similarly, look at the profile of a financial analyst. Again, a job profile which I think is highly exposed to AI. Why? What does a business analyst or financial analyst actually do? If you look at the core skills, that is data entry, spreadsheet modeling, you need to know how to use Excel, doing some statistical calculations, work with some simple software tools, and create reports and PowerPoint decks. Now, what is happening for such for such roles? Artificial intelligence is much better than the human being, much more faster, much more accurate at data crunching, at financial modeling. As a result, the old skills are no longer relevant. Of course, it doesn't mean that all the jobs are highly exposed to AI. There are still a lot of jobs which rely on human interaction, which AI cannot replicate. A good example of that would be, say, a physiotherapist, or in healthcare, even though things like telemedicine and artificial intelligence will impact the healthcare industry also. But in healthcare, the very nature of service is such that it relies on human to human interaction, which probably AI cannot completely take over. So overall, if you look at it, any job or any role which involves mental or intellectual task and which can be replicated on a large scale using technology, say where you have to process huge amounts of data, where you have to recognize patterns, where you have to do modeling, where you have to make predictions based on certain rules, all of these can be taken care of by AI. And I'm not only talking about low skill work or low paid work. No, I'm talking about highly paid jobs like junior analysts in an investment bank. And that is something where the real disruption is happening. If you look at how automation happened in the past, say using personal computer, what did technology do? Technology simply automated the task itself. Earlier, you used to do manual calculation using a calculator. Now, technology brought something called a spreadsheet. Earlier, you used to file your papers in a filing cabinet. Technology brought in something called a database. It automated the task, but the person who was required to run the task, the human being, was still there. But in the world of AI and generative AI, what is going to change is I hope all of you can see the slide set which I have presented.
Yeah, it's coming on now.
Oh, I had put it earlier also. I don't know why it did not. Sorry. Okay, but what Gen AI or AI in particular is doing, it is automating the workflow itself. That means it is automating not the task, it is automating the work done by the person who is required to perform the task. That is the fundamental disruption that we are talking about today. Okay. So in this new world, you are seeing what you call AI agents. So an AI agent is a system which can reason, which can plan, and which can execute a series of tasks to achieve a goal. For example, currently there is a financial analyst. You ask the financial analyst to write a report on the latest quarterly sales. The analyst will spend 2-3 days gathering data, cleaning it in Microsoft Excel, building charts, and then writing a summary report. In the AI world, you will ask the same question, but not to the human being, rather to an AI agent. The AI agent will autonomously query all the databases. They will run some Python scripts, do analysis. They will generate the charts, and they will write a 10-page report. That is where the fundamental shift, I would say, is happening. Now, in some ways, the shift sounds very concerning because the human being itself is getting replaced from doing the task. But if you look at it the other way, it's not that the human being is completely being taken out of the picture, rather, the nature of the role is changing. So, what AI will do, it will eliminate some job profiles, but at the same time, it will create a lot many more job profiles. In my opinion, 3 fundamentally new job profiles are going to gain ground. The exact name of the role might differ, but I'm just trying to categorize it in a general format. The first category would be the people who build. These would be the people who will build and fine tune the AI models. This is the role which you call an AI or an ML engineer, a data scientist, an AI architect. The skill set that you will need here is deep technical fluency. You need to know Python, you need to know various frameworks which can be used to create these AI models. The second type of role would be the role of the bridge. By bridge, I mean people who will form the human AI layer. This is actually the fastest growing role today if you look at LinkedIn job profiles. These are going to be the translators who will bridge the tech with the business need. See, what is happening in the world of AI is knowing how to program is no longer a critical skill. Programming has been democratized. Everyone can program. So what really would become important is how do you translate that program or that IT stuff into domain knowledge, into what is actually required by the business. Here you will have roles like AI product manager, who will decide what to build. The AI auditor, who will ensure that the AI model is free from bias. The AI trainer, who can train the AI with proprietary data. The conversation designer, who can script the personality of AI. And finally, the third layer will be the what I call the application layer or the user layer. This is where most of the working professionals will actually land. Okay, this is where This is where most of us will land. These are the people who will use the AI tools to increase their productivity by, say, 8x or 10x. Here you will have the new financial analyst who uses AI for 80% of their modeling. Here you will have the new marketing professional who will use AI tools to scale their campaigns. Here you will have the AI sales orchestrator who will manage a workflow of AI agents. So these are, broadly speaking, the three new categories of jobs that are emerging in the market. Okay. If I can just take you through some of the sector specific things, look at IT. Today in IT, it's not only basic coding that is getting automated. Debugging is getting automated, even algorithm optimization, testing, all of it is getting automated. Who will be impacted? The entry-level software professionals who are doing traditional routine coding work. And this is what is happening in the world. What are the emerging roles? AI ML engineer, AI agent architect, AI product manager, AI ethicist. So old roles are going away and new roles will come and take their place. Similarly, if you go to finance, any task which is about basic data gathering, financial modeling, credit analysis, compliance checks, that is what a lot of finance and accounts is about. That is about to get automated. In fact, banks like JP Morgan, they are already automating about half of their review activities and portfolio allocation activities. They are using systems like BlackRock's Aladdin. So entry level and mid-tier analysts who are working in banking and finance, they are definitely going to see their job role being transformed. But does it mean that their requirement will vanish? Of course not. You would have risk managers who are able to use AI tools to create strategies, to do risk analysis. You are going to have managers who are able to use robo-advisors. Similarly, if you look at sales, people who work in pricing, people who worked in lead management, those roles are going to get outdated. But at the same time, you will have a lot of AI-based roles. You will have, one of the hottest roles today is that of a conversation designer who can craft an AI chat flow. You have AI sales orchestrators who can integrate multi-agent systems. And so on the list goes, whether it is marketing, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is education. But again, the broader message from this part is that some of the old traditional job roles are going out and a lot of new job roles are emerging. Now people who are able to reskill themselves, people who are able to learn the new tools, they will definitely be able to ride this wave. So the idea is not to think that everything is going to go down the drain. Probably that will not happen. The idea is to adapt yourself to the new reality. Okay. And then we come to the final part. So I told you that whatever you are seeing today in terms of negative news coverage, in terms of people saying that, look, everything will turn bad, forget about that. There are so many times these things have happened in the past. It's just that our memory as a human being is very short. So if something happened 50 years ago and it is again happening today, we tend to think, oh, something new is happening. The second important thing was the part number 2, where we said what is happening at a granular level, which kind of job roles are going away and which kind of job roles are emerging. See, what happens is a lot of times we are only focused on what is getting destroyed. Open your eyes and look at what is the new thing which is happening, and you will find there is a lot of new stuff which is coming along. In fact, for this new stuff, they really are not able to find skilled people. So it's all about demand supply mismatch. In the traditional role, the demand is shrinking and supply is more. In the new emerging roles, demand is increasing, but they do not have enough supply. And what you have to do is you have to jump from one to the other. You have to jump to the segment where the demand is. And finally, let's come to the part number 3, which we call the AI proof toolkit. Here I'm going to talk about what are the core competencies that you need, what are the essential tools that you need to learn to survive in this AI driven world. First of all, you need a massive change in mindset. And don't take this lightly. A lot of the issues that you feel are there simply because we continue to look at things in the old way. And that is why we feel so much of chaos. What is this new mindset all about? To realize that in an AI-driven world, what you know simply does not matter any longer. You know a mathematical formula, who cares? You know how to write good programs in Java? Well, that is something which an AI co-pilot can do very fast, better than you. Probably not better than you, but much faster than you at say 80% of the accuracy. So anything which you know by memory, that is no longer a differentiator. Why? Because AI can do it at scale. In this new world, what really matters is how fast you can learn things, unlearn things, and then relearn them. That is what really matters in the AI driven world, because if the total work is 100 units, 80 unit of that is going to be done by the AI tool itself. So knowledge of a programming language, knowledge of a framework, knowledge of some physics formula, knowledge of how to solve a maths problem. Sorry, that is no longer the true differentiator between people. The second key message is AI can generate hundreds of thousands of answers. Go to a chat GPT, go to a Grok, go to a Gemini. You ask them questions, they can give 1,000 different kind of answers. What they still can't do is ask the right questions. So in the AI driven world, the true worth of the professional is not in terms of whether they know Python or whether they know C++. The true worth of the professional is in terms of whether they know what are the right questions to ask even before a system development has started. So the value lies in the quality of your questions. And finally, in this new world, you need to shed the mindset at which you looked at success earlier. I'm personally a big believer of the fact that this whole romanticism with branded education, MBA programs, which people go to US for, they spent 1 crore to do an MBA. This whole romanticism is going to come down. Because in an AI-driven world, it's not the degree which you hold, it is the skill set that you have. That is what is going to matter. So it's no longer about the traditional KPIs. It is more about how well you are able to handle the softer aspects in the office environment. Collaboration, teamwork, understanding the customer. Of course, we have been talking about these things for the last 20, 30 years as part of the management programs, but that will become more and more relevant because all the routine work is going to be done by the AI tool. Your job would primarily be about, instead of building the system, to figure out what kind of system you want to build. What are the limitations of that system? Under what scenarios that system will work or not work? Is that the system that you really want? Is that system scalable? How fast you can figure out the requirements and how fast you can change that system and come up with something new if the market environment changes. Okay. So this is the new mindset that you should focus on. And this slide talks about the core competencies. So I have highlighted 6 core competencies that all of us need in an AI-driven world. The first core competency is AI literacy and ethics. This is about understanding the fundamentals of AI. For example, how a neural network model processes data. What is the limitation of an AI model? What are the ethical implications, bias, privacy breach, accountability? So here, the key idea is to know when can you trust the AI output, when you cannot trust it, and how to mitigate the risks of an AI model and ensure compliance with regulations. It is not about coding AI from scratch. No. It's about being literate enough to integrate that AI model with your business decision making. What kind of job roles you will have here? In IT, you will be an AI ops specialist, where you will audit the AI algorithms for security flaws and whether they are compliant with your cybersecurity policies or not. In finance, you will become a credit analyst who will use AI-driven risk models to check if there are any biases in lending. In sales marketing, you will become a professional who will use AI-targeted campaigns and ensure that they do not result in privacy violations. They are compliant with data privacy laws. In education, you will become a teacher who will design AI tools for inclusive learning. The second big competency is what we call critical thinking. Now here, the key ability is to analyze whatever insights the AI has generated and then question its assumptions, verify its accuracy, and apply human judgment. Which means whatever the AI output is, you are able to figure out any logical flaws. You are able to figure out whether it is relevant to your context or not. That means in IT, you will become a software tester who will evaluate AI code suggestions from a tool like Copilot and ensure that they meet your project specs. In finance, you will become a portfolio manager who will look at the AI tool generated forecast and then adjust them for market nuances which the AI tool would have missed out. In education, you will become an instructor who will review the AI graded assignment and you will evaluate them for deeper understanding of the student's ability in terms of learning outcomes. So that is critical thinking. Then the other key competency is what we call data analysis and applied machine learning. Here you will learn to interpret data itself. You will use statistics. You will apply basic machine learning algorithms, supervised learning, unsupervised learning to build and to tweak models. So practically, this will be about querying the data using, say, an SQL or a Python, visualize trends in that data, and then being able to deploy simple machine learning models for prediction. So in IT, you will become a network admin who will use ML for any anomaly detection in cybersecurity. In finance, you will become an analyst who uses ML models for fraud detection. In sales, you will become a forecaster who will analyze the CRM data with machine learning models to predict customer churn. In marketing, you will become an analyst who will use ML tools for doing A/B testing. So that is about data and applied ML. The next one is what I call creativity and human AI collaboration. I think this is something which is very underrated right now, and this is going to see a big boost. This is where you will start ideating things. You will go beyond what the AI's output is, and you will brainstorm new and creative solutions, and then you will develop them along with AI. The AI tool will be used to iterate some idea, quickly do a rapid prototyping, test that idea in the market. If that idea works, you go ahead with the production development. Otherwise, you chuck it and you go to the new idea. That means AI will become your partner. If you are Sherlock Holmes, AI will become your Dr. Watson, where you will blend your human intuition with the efficiency of the machine. So in IT, you will become a product manager who will collaborate with AI to design user-centric apps, where you will add creative twist. In sales, you will become a coach who is able to create unique pitches, sales pitches, by refining what the AI model is suggesting with creative storytelling. In finance, you will become a strategist who will use AI simulation to come up with innovative investment products. The next skill is adaptability. I cannot highlight this enough. The time when you would learn one or two skills and think that you can spend your entire life with that is gone. Those of you who work in IT already know that you have to upgrade your skills every 3 to 5 years because the old technology framework has become redundant. That would be a core skill today. How fast you are able to unlearn and relearn things. How fast you are able to adapt to changing market conditions. And final competency is, of course, prompt engineering and some kind of programming basics. Here, the key skill set would be, can you craft a good prompt as an input to the AI model? And do you know basic coding, say writing a Python script for automation? So in IT, you will become, say, if you are a software engineer, you will prompt for code generation. Do you know how to write the correct prompt? In finance, you will become an analyst who will prompt the LLM, the large language model, for custom models. In sales marketing, you have to create personalized content using an AI tool. Do you know how to write that prompt? So these are essentially the key skill sets that you need to know about. The key competencies, I would say, in an AI-driven world. All of these key competencies are going to result in new job profiles. Some of them, of course, will have an overlap. But if you have these key competencies, say 2 or 3 of them, I am reasonably sure that you will get good career opportunities. Okay. And finally, just to give you a brief idea about some of the tools that you have to learn. So I've just categorized these tools under different headings. At one end, you have the AI assistant and chatbot, which you will use for prompt engineering, for critical thinking. You need to learn how to use a chat GPT or a Gemini or a Grok. The problem is 95% of people are using chat GPT as Google. Remember, the quality of the output that chat GPT gives you is directly proportional to or directly related to the quality of questions that you ask. So learn these tools. Similarly, in productivity and automation tools, you have tools like Zapier, Notion AI, Otter.ai. Just check on Google or ask ChatGPT itself what the different tools are that you need to learn, and it will give you a long list of tools. The idea is today you have to learn at least 2, 3 of these tools to remain relevant in the workforce. So these key competencies are what you need to have. Along with these key competencies, you have to learn various tools. And finally, the last part of the discussion, if I can come to, that is your action plan. So I told you the competencies, I told you the tools. Now the question is, how do I gear up for that? So I've just prepared a 4-step action plan for you. The first step is audit. So every week, you start maintaining a notebook where you write something which you are doing, which is very repetitive in nature, very routine in nature. Say, you might write, this week I spent 3 hours summarizing meeting notes. Or this week I spent 5 hours cleaning data in Excel. Or this week I spent 2 hours drafting standard sales emails. This is your personal automation potential list. Okay. The second part of the action plan is to experiment. Start experimenting with AI tools. Spend 15-20 minutes every day where you use an AI tool and try to figure out how you can automate these routine tasks. And check what is the quality of the output that the AI tool is giving. Third step is what I call integrate. Choose one tool that works and make it a part of your day-to-day life. So if you're a marketer, you will realize that all the first drafts for blog posts, they are now generated by an AI tool like Jasper, which means earlier as a marketer, your core job was writing the blogs. Now your core job has become to edit the blogs, the output of the AI tool, do fact check, and add strategic insight. And finally, from a long-term perspective, something that you can achieve over a year, pick any of these competencies, any of these high-value competencies, and master them. Either master prompt engineering for your sales team as CRM, master AI orchestration tools for your IT department, or become the AI ethics champion for your finance team. This is some kind of an action plan that you have, wherein over a period of say 6 months to 1 year, you will actually become a champion or a subject matter expertise in one or the other aspect of the AI. Okay. And finally, just to end all this, see, we started with talking about anxiety. Anxiety is real. I understand that. But there is no point in getting stuck with that anxiety. You need to substitute that anxiety with a plan. And the arc of history shows us that technology does not destroy everything. It simply displaces something which was old, and it creates new, higher value opportunities. So stop thinking of yourself as a financial analyst, as an accountant, as a marketeer, as a coder. Going forward, you would be part of a hybrid role where you will leverage AI to solve complex problems. Don't try to compete against AI. That is useless. That is a losing battle. Similarly, don't just use AI for basic stuff. Like people do, go to ChatGPT, they ask, oh, can you format this email for me? That is not the optimal use of the AI tool. Learn to collaborate with AI. With AI, today you can sharply increase your learning curve, something which would have earlier taken you 6 months to learn by reading books, by attending courses. Today, using a chat GPT or a Gemini, you can learn 80% of that stuff in a few weeks. Remember, your creativity, your adaptability, your critical thinking, that is your real power as a human being. And that is a job which, at least in the near future, AI is not going to automate. So instead of being anxious, look at this opportunity, start your upskilling journey, and I'm very sure you will come out of this much happier and much more successful in whatever way you want to be successful. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you very much. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you very much, Ritesh bhai. It was a amazing overview about the scope of AI, the limitations, the how to upskill it, adaptability, and much more. Now, as we said, we will have a small QA session. So, I have few questions coming up. Uh, One question is from the HR industry: how much impact it would make in the HR sector when it comes to recruitment and payroll? Can you please throw some light on it?
So in recruitment to Nishkambhai, I think there will be a huge impact, because if you look at recruitment today, the way the process is, that you first, you shortlist the CVs, you go through the CV, you identify which CVs are there to be shortlisted, then you communicate with the candidate, then you arrange an interview, then you follow up with them, then you do negotiations. I think agentic AI has a lot of uh, potential to replace a large part of it. In fact, if there is one aspect of HR where I think AI is going to have a very great impact, that is recruitment. Instead of because what is happening today is the entire recruitment cycle, it spans months, that will get reduced very significantly. So recruitment, my idea is that yes, it will have an impact. In terms of payroll, I don't know. See, payroll to वैसे भी already it's in what kind of payroll activity you are referring to, I did not get that. But if it is just doing the payroll activity, वो तो अभी भी काफी हद तक automated हो ही चुका है, because you simply have to fill up an Excel sheet today, upload that Excel file to whoever is your bank, and they will do all the activities. So payroll ka, I don't know how much potential there is, but recruitment mein, I am very sure that AI is going to create a lot of changes. Yeah.
It will be maybe many things will be automated and very much faster than the speed it's currently the recruitments are done. So it's
Yeah.
better to learn the AI tools well in the recruitment for the HR industry and adapt for the same, right?
Yeah. Because I think that currently the recruitment and Nishkambai, which is being very human centric, probably, I mean, all the look at the workflow of recruitment. पहला जो workflow है, that is screening of resume. Today it is happening in several hours. Now going forward, it will happen in seconds. AI will immediately parse say thousands of applications and they will quickly identify qualified candidates. फिर रिक्रूटमेंट का एक बड़ा काम है कैंडिडेट सोर्सिंग टूल, लर्न यूजिंग द कैंडिडेट सोर्सिंग टूल्स. उसमें एआई क्या करेगा? दे विल क्विकली स्कैन thousands of LinkedIn profiles, job boards, and databases to proactively find who are the passive candidates who match our criteria. And then chatbots will handle all the initial candidate questions. They will do pre-screening interviews. They can do it 24/7. So I think the entire time to hire that you have today as a company, that can go down by like 75-80%. They can do skill-based matching. The algorithm can do that. You can have video interview analysis. You can have predictive analytics models which can forecast whether the candidate will be a good fit for your organization or not. So all these things are there.
Excellent, excellent. Now, one more question is, what about cybersecurity job with AI? Is means it is growing in it or not? Means what is the scope of cybersecurity jobs with growing AI?
Huge potential, because now that is the dangerous part of AI, because everyone can be a software programmer today, so everyone can be a hacker also. So using AI, even someone with an average level of understanding of programming can generate viruses, they can generate malware. So I think AI would create a dramatic shift in cybersecurity careers, but overall, I think the requirement for cybersecurity professionals would only increase with time. Of course, the job role would change. More and more of detecting the intrusion, detecting the fraud, detecting the security event, that would be delegated to the AI tool. But you will have a lot of such roles like an AI security specialist who knows how to, because see, AI not only will be used to generate new cyber attacks, as more and more AI systems get integrated with the company's production workflow, the bigger danger is people are able to hack those AI systems itself. So you have like prompt injections. You have so many different kinds of ways in which people can hack an AI system itself. So there would be specialists required who would understand how to make these AI systems secure, how to figure out if the AI system has been compromised. But overall, I think cybersecurity profiles in terms of demand are only going to go up.
Now, one more from the legal section. We have a few professionals from the legal. Now, their question is how AI can be leveraged to enhance efficiency and accuracy in support functions such as compliance, legal, secretarial operations. And are there any specific tools other than ChatGPT or Copilot for the legal people, and how it can help to integrate AI for compliance and even for corporate lawyers?
So it is already doing it, sir. I mean, if you look at some of the largest legal firms in the country, like Amarchand Mangal Das, they were recently in the news. They have adopted a AI tool called Harvey, which is essentially meant for legal tech. See, what will happen with AI is most of, I would say 80-90% of the work, I'm talking to some people who work in legal department, they say, yaar, 80-90% work tha hamara, that was all about, reviewing documents, coming up with contracts, looking at compliances, doing routine checks in databases of case laws. All that AI would automate. People are already using it. So big law firms have already started using it in a meaningful way. So if the question is, can AI be used for efficiency gains in the legal department? 100%. All the routine tasks, document को draft करना, contract को check करना कि उसमें कोई error तो नहीं है, डेटाबेसेस में जाके चेक करना कि पुराना केस लॉ क्या है, कंप्लायंट है कि नहीं, ये सब एआई कर देगा. Of course, it will have I would say, a significant impact on the junior legal professionals, क्योंकि उनका तो मेजर काम ही है ये. So it will have a significant impact on them.
Yeah. So lawyers also need to
100%, sir.
everyone. no one is no one is spared in AI in the world of AI. Everyone has to upgrade and upskill. Okay, now we have a few questions from the finance professionals. I would just sum up all of them. One as a question of how do I start using AI for my accounts payable, or someone is telling I'm a fresher in finance. How can I step in and start learning? One is asking how can upgrade my as a finance person. How can upgrade my skills and grow at maximum support of AI? And means many such questions related to finance field. And if someone is asking, is there any such platform where I can learn the advancements in AI specifically for finance field?
Okay, I'll just come to them one by one. See, accounts payable may again, because why it is relevant, because a lot of the BPO, KPO industry, the work that they do in India is about account receivable and account payable process. अभी उसमें भी थिंग्स लाइक इनवॉइस प्रोसेसिंग, डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन, तो आजकल ये ऑप्टिकल कैरेक्टर रिकॉग्निशन टूल्स हैं, उसको आपने एआई के साथ इंटीग्रेट कर दिया, वो ऑटोमेटिकली इनवॉइस से डेटा निकालेगा, वेंडर का नाम, अमाउंट, डेट, लाइन आइटम. वो पीडीएफ भी पढ़ सकता है, वो इमेज भी देख सकता है, वो फोटो भी देख सकता है, वो ईमेल भी पढ़ सकता है, और उसकी एक्यूरेसी जो है वो किसी भी ह्यूमन ऑपरेटर से कहीं कहीं बेटर है. So you have these tools these days, like in SAP, you have Concur, or you have a tool called UiPath. All of them provide these modules for accounts payable. So I think this gentleman has to check with their company in terms of what implementations they are having and probably learn that. So invoice processing, data extraction, matching and verification, duplicate detection, किसको ये इनवॉइस रूट करना है, अप्रूवल वर्कफ्लो क्या होगा, कहीं इनवॉइस में कोई फ्रॉड तो नहीं किया हुआ है, कोई डुप्लीकेट पेमेंट तो नहीं हो गया, कोई इनवॉइस में एनोमली तो नहीं है. ये सब करने की कैपेबिलिटी आज की तारीख में है. So it's more to do with what kind of automation your company is going for, and slowly they are going for that. And now, as a finance professional, how do you learn about it? I think, again, it's the same thing that we said earlier. You will identify your competency. See, I'll tell you why some of these questions arise. Some of these questions arise because अभी भी ना हम AI को कैसे देख रहे हैं कि यार आज मैं काम करता हूँ अकाउंट्स पेबल में या अकाउंट रिसीवेबल में, क्या मैं कोई AI टूल सीख सकता हूँ जिससे कि उसी काम में I get better opportunity. That is like fitting a square peg in a round hole. Probably you need to think about what is the future of your job role, what are the new job roles which are emerging, and think about that. तो मैं बोलूंगा कि एक्चुअल इनवॉइस प्रोसेसिंग का काम जो है दैट विल बी शिफ्टेड टू एआई, बट जो कंप्लायंस के इश्यूज हैं या जो सिस्टम के इश्यूज हैं, दैट इज वेयर द ह्यूमन बीइंग कैन actually add value. So learn that skill. Don't think how to do an incremental improvement. वैसा काम नहीं चलेगा, because the job role itself will get transformed. Think about what is the high value opportunity that is going to arise in finance and accounts. AI ethics, model bias, model optimization. That skill set does not need to be overtly technical. जिनको प्रोग्रामिंग नहीं आती है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि उनके लिए कोई भविष्य नहीं है. There will be a lot of job roles where you will not be required to program anything. You will simply, जैसे आज एक्सेल यूज करते हैं, वैसे कल को बोलेगा तुमको आना चाहिए चैट जीपीटी यूज करना. So think on those lines, and then I already gave you a roadmap. Identify some competency, identify some tool, and learn it. Take certifications. To these days, you have programs on Coursera. You can go to NPTEL. There are so many online programs which are launched. Practice, learn, take a certification, build your credentials. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, it's answered. And I would like to ask all the viewers that many of them are asking the same questions, that what all AI tools are required for my industry. Someone is in marketing profession, someone is in teaching industry, someone is in diamond industry, someone is in petrochemicals, some are civil engineers. I don't think this is the means if you start naming all these tools, it will be a very big thing, but all these tools can be easily search again on a
हाँ
AI tool. Yeah, it
सर
can be
सिंपली
searched on
आप
ChatGPT and Gemini. You can always
सिंपली
search
आप
more.
सिंपली आप चैट जीपीटी पे जाओ, उसको आप बोलो कि आई एम अ सिविल इंजीनियर and I am looking for tools for civil engineering, and it will give you a laundry list of tools. Then look at their reviews, learn about which of them are relevant to you, and that's what. That is information which is readily available.
Okay. Now I have one. So I would like to now ask questions which are different from these questions. One is someone is asking. I have concerns about the accuracy of AI generated outputs, as many real world cases show faulty or incorrect results. How can we ensure the quality and dependability of AI outcomes? I think it's a very good question. Even I had this question some time back. So can you please answer on it?
Yeah, I'm very glad you asked this question, because this also tells you what can happen in an AI driven world. See, Abhi, everyone is worried कि AI आ जाएगा, AI will start generating free content, content will become abundant. But remember, when information will become 100 times cheaper, because now instead of a human blogger, you have to work with an AI blogger. So content will become very, very cheap. But at the same time, my belief is you will get entirely new professions and institutions whose core job would be to certify that content, to verify that content. If content is something which everyone can generate, then trust will become the currency in the industry. Remember, a company like Pulitzer, after whom you have the Pulitzer Prizes, they did not become famous by writing more articles than others. No, they became famous by ensuring people that what they are writing is trustworthy. Google did not win by hosting more web pages. They took a completely different route. So the question is, when everything will become abundant, who will verify the quality of that content? Okay, so first of all, this is a kind of a job profile, people who are in this particular segment, whose core job would be to verify what is the quality of the content. I'm sure it will become more and more prevalent. In fact, already, if I can tell you about this, there is a company called Fairly Trained, and there is a company called Spawning. They are startups and they have raised funds, and their business model is that they will certify content which has been created by a human being versus what has been created by AI. Okay, so that is one thing. Now, secondly, how do you get the AI tool? And the AI tool, does it hallucinate? It hallucinates a lot. By hallucination, I mean it will give you uh, output which sounds very logical, but it is completely false. Now, people would say it's a big deal. Actually, it is not, because even human beings hallucinate. And by hallucinate, I don't mean when you take alcohol. No, you hallucinate in general. If I ask you, what was the chain of events which took place, say, 10 years ago, you don't remember it exactly. You always try to fill in the gaps with some logical answer. That's what the AI is also trying to do. Of course, if you want to have better output, there are techniques of doing that. As part of prompt engineering, you can write your prompts in such a manner where you explicitly instruct the AI model that they have to do fact checking, that they have to cite the source from which their answer has been based. These are some of the things that you do as part of prompt engineering to ensure that the output of the AI model is more accurate and less hallucinating. Or you can ask them to explain everything that they have done. so that the AI model realizes that it's not enough to just give you the answer, but also to explain how they arrived at the answer so that you can figure out any logical inconsistencies in that. And of course, there are other commercial level tools, but at a very basic level, because most of us, what happens is we ask a question to ChatGPT, it gives the answer. We think that answer is perfect. We go and tell it to someone. That someone else happens to know the subject matter. So he comes back saying that, boss, whatever answer you are giving is bakwas. So how do you check that it was bakwas in the first place? There are prompt engineering techniques for that. Just search on Google or ChatGPT itself as to how I can fact check the LLM's answer, and it will give you 5 different techniques that you can use.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now,
Yeah.
again, we have a few questions from the medical fraternity. We have few doctors with us and people from healthcare industry. Now, they just want to know that it is doctor profession or medical industry is all about human interaction. It is about understanding their problems and giving them solutions. But is there a threat by AI for their industry, or how can they leverage their profession by using AI? And how will it influence the health sector in the future?
So uh, a lot of stuff in medical profession is something which AI can easily take over. So I'll give you an example. Already the profile of a radiologist, AI already has become much better than the human person in terms of figuring out any abnormalities in an X-ray, in a CT scan, in an MRI. Okay. So wherever you have diagnostic applications, say medical imaging, disease detection and prediction, where AI can simply look at the person's symptoms, they can identify patterns in mammograms. AI, I was reading some articles where by looking at the scan of lungs, AI has been able to figure out a potential lung cancer 5-6 months before there were symptoms visible to the human being. Okay. Uh, so that is one place where AI has a huge role to play. Similarly, all this personalized medicine plans, drug selection, treatment planning, drug discovery and development. People are already saying that using AI, the entire developmental cycle of drugs can be reduced from like 10-15 years to say 5 years. Designing molecules, how you can repurpose existing drugs, how you can do clinical trial optimizations, the whole field of precision medicine and genomics. You can have, we are already talking AI driven telemedicine, where especially in a country like India, where so many people live in tier 3 towns, villages, where they don't have access to specialists, instead of coming to Delhi or Mumbai, they can actually leverage the expertise of that specialist who is sitting in a metro city. Remote patient monitoring, uh, and of course, as part of hospital or the healthcare center, administrative and operational parts, documentation, medical records, billing, hospital operations. So all these things are there where I believe AI will have an impact. Because see, I don't see it as a sector issue. As I told you, it is not about whether you are in manufacturing, whether you are in sales, whether you are in medicine. The point is, as long as your job role or any part of your operation involves repetitive working, or it is based on handling large quantities of data, or it is about recognizing pattern in something, that has a potential to be automated by AI. So I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah. Now there is one more from teachers industry who are in the teaching industry. There are few
Uh,
professors and teachers. Now their question is, okay, it is all about interaction, right? Teacher's job is more about interaction, about understand the psychology of the student and pass the knowledge in such a way that they can understand. Now even there is a it's we can see all around that in the future teachers will be replaced by robots or AI tools and all that stuff. So how much it's true and is really there is a need to worry for the teaching industry, or how should they upgrade themselves for the same?
Okay, sir, I'll answer this question in two parts. See, first of all, if you look at what a teacher does today, especially if you work, let's say, in a school or in a college, you will realize that today 70% of the teacher's time, and that is my estimation, I might be wrong here, 70-75% जो teacher or professor का time है, that does not go into teaching, it goes into administrative task, grading, routine administration, managing attendance, sending standardized communication to parents, doing paperwork, lesson planning, standardized assessment. वो सब में AI will come in a big way because it can do it much better than you, much faster. Does it mean that the job of the teacher will change? Of course not. The role of the teacher will not diminish. What I think, because I myself belong to that profession over the last couple of years, it will make you much more productive in terms of now you have much more time available to give attention to the students' unique needs. जैसे कि पहले मुझे अगर 5 घंटे लगते थे एक लेसन प्लान को बनाने में, तो जो बेसिक लेसन प्लान है, today I can create it in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then I can spend another 1.5 hours in trying to customize that lesson plan as per the unique needs of my students, or to make it more intuitive, add an element of humor to it. So mudda kya hai na, that what happens in real world is 80% of time goes into doing things which have only 20% of the impact. So teaching pe, would there be a impact? 100%. In fact, people like Bill Gates have been saying that this is a myth that teaching cannot be taken over by AI. Bill Gates तो कहता है कि पूरा replace कर देंगे टीचर को. टीचर को ऐसा आता क्या है जो AI को नहीं आता है. And I'll tell you a small example which will validate this. I read about a company. So what they did, they looked at their customer care center operations. They found they had two kinds of people, executives, star executives and average executives. Star executives, they were able to sell at least 3 times more compared to the average executives. They had some skill set. अभी traditionally अगर हम देखेंगे तो you would say कि that is the skill of a salesperson. He has the gift of the gab. He has that personality. He has that appeal. Blah blah blah. They said, can we learn an artificial intelligence model on this? तो उन्होंने क्या किया? They created hundreds of hours of recordings कि जब कोई स्टार एग्जीक्यूटिव के पास कस्टमर कॉल करता है तो वो क्या बोलता है, और जब एवरेज काम करता है वो क्या बोलता है. And then they subjected it to a machine learning model. And they were able to recognize patterns in terms of how a star executive actually handles the customers, what kind of vocabulary they use, what kind of questions they ask, where they show human empathy, how they are able to persuade the customer. And then they converted those insights into some kind of a manual, and they trained everyone on that. So what is happening is a skill which was thought to be intangible, which could not be replicated, that also can be replicated because it is not actually intangible. So I think for a country like ours, where you have such a scarcity of good teachers, AI will be a huge boon. It will allow the teachers to focus more time on value-added work, provided they are able to use it in the correct way. Plus, it will actually democratize education for a large part of our population who still don't have access to high quality education. So, will it have an impact on teachers? वो तो सबको होना है. But a lot of teachers' time, I think, would also be freed up, and they can really focus on connecting with their students.
So teachers don't need to search for a new profession. Better they learn AI tools for like for automating their routine work and focus more on quality or teaching, right? Or value-based teaching.
That itself you will realize has vastly. See, आप सोचो ना सर, आपके पास टाइम तो फिजिकली उतना ही है, पहले उस टाइम में 5 घंटे में 4 घंटे आप बेसिक प्लान तैयार करते थे और फिर उसको प्लान को सोचते थे कैसे पढ़ाना है। अभी प्लान जो है वो आधे घंटे में बन गया। नाउ यू हैव मोर टाइम टू एक्चुअली ऐड वैल्यू टू इट।
Okay.
टाइम तो वही है, बट यू आर चेंजिंग योर प्रोडक्टिविटी।
Okay. Now we have many people from the sales industry. Now again, they have the same question that sales is all about personal pitching, trust, relationship, for closing a deal. But then how AI will affect their job roles and how should they be ready for the same?
सर क्या है ना कि हम सब लोग बीइंग ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, दिस इज अ आई वुड से अ बिहेवियरल बायस और अ बिहेवियरल ट्रेट। हमारे को लगता ना है कि हम कोई ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं जिसमें कुछ अजूबा है, जिसमें कुछ ऐसी स्किल सेट आ रही है जो किसी और के पास नहीं है। दैट्स हाउ वी कन्विंस आवरसेल्व्स। ऐसा नहीं है। एंड द सेम होल्ड्स फॉर सेल्स। नाउ सेल्स, इफ यू आस्क मी, a salesperson will tell you sales is all art, art, art. A lot of sales is also science. तो क्या होगा कि जो सेल्स का जो आर्ट है, that will continue to be there. Negotiations, relationship management, knowing the customer requirements, having the pulse of the market, that is an art that will continue to be in the human person's domain. But जो sales का science है, automated task, CRM data entry. For example, Salesforce has a tool called Einstein. वो क्या करता है? It listens to your calls with the customer, it transcribes the call, summarizes it, and automatically logs the call and updates the entire customer record without you having to type anything. Okay? There are things called lead management. सेल्स के लोग जो सेल्स फनल बनाते हैं उसमें कितना टाइम जाता है ये डिसाइड करने में कि क्या होगा, ये सेल्स कॉल क्लोज होगी कि नहीं होगी. What the AI tool today can do, they can analyze the lead's behavior. उसने वेबसाइट पे कितनी बार क्लिक किया, ईमेल को कितनी बार ओपन किया, उसका जॉब टाइटल क्या है, उसकी कंपनी का साइज क्या है, एंड दे कैन इंस्टेंटली टेल द सेल्स पर्सन कि इस लीड में 90% चांस है क्लोज होने का, उसको अभी कॉल करो, दिस इज अ हाई पोटेंशियल लीड. और दे कैन इंस्टेंटली टेल द पर्सन दैट दिस इज अ वेरी लो चांस ऑफ कन्वर्जन, डोंट वेस्ट योर टाइम ऑन दैट. इनिशियल आउटरीच, ये जो पूरा कोल्ड ईमेल कैंपेन चलाते हैं जिसमें भी पर्सनलाइज 1000. सो व्हाट यू कैन डू, इंस्टेड ऑफ स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड कोल्ड कैंपेन्स, कोल्ड ईमेल कैंपेन्स, you can do personalized thousands of emails based on the leads data. Meeting scheduling, call analysis. Okay, जैसे there is a tool called Gong, Gong. वो क्या करता है? They are able to analyze 100% of the sales team's calls. They will identify what your top performing sales rep is saying, what questions customers are asking most, and they will provide data driven coaching to the salespeople as to how you should interact with the customer. Okay, तो where the sales role will change, अभी क्या है ना कि सेल्स के लोग हैं हंटर, दे हंट. अभी वो बन जाएंगे ऑर्केस्ट्रेटर. मतलब they don't need to make 100 cold calls. They have to manage the AI system which makes 10,000 cold calls via email or chat. They will only step in when the AI will flag a lead as being ready for a human being. They will focus on high value closing because their administrative routine task is gone. So they will spend more time on the tasks which AI cannot do, building human rapport, navigating company politics, handling last moment objections by the customer, and building long term trust. Okay,
Excellent.
and
Excellent.
plus it will increase your research capability by 10x. अभी क्या होता है, मैं बैंक में काम करता था, जब भी हम कस्टमर के पास जाते हैं किसी नए लार्ज कॉर्पोरेट से मिलने, एक पूरा दिन लगता है गूगल पे जाके उसकी एनुअल रिपोर्ट निकालो, उसकी वेबसाइट पे जाओ, लर्न अबाउट द कस्टमर, वो करता क्या है. अदरवाइज यू विल फील लाइक अ फूल इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कस्टमर. अभी यू कैन टेल द एआई, मेरे को इस कंपनी पे 1 पेज का ब्रीफ चाहिए. Tell me what their numbers look like, what are their key activities, what happened in their last earning call, what are the top 3 strategic priorities of their CEO. You get a summary in 30 seconds. So you will have, I mean, these are the kind of things that will emerge. The routine tasks, the science of sales, that is probably what will get automated. Yeah.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer. You divided the sales into two part: science of sales and arts of sales. And obviously, art is always going to stay. But the people who are already into arts of sales, even if they start learning the science of sales, all the AI tools, it will be great, great helpful for their profiles, and they can really leverage in their job profiles. It's a very good thing. Now I will end up with two more questions. There will be last two questions because we are covering the industries. Now we have many students who have joined us. There are many CA professionals who are doing CA. Many are doing CS. Some are doing JEE mains preparation. So the community, the question from their community is, how can we use AI for our learning, or how can we enhance our learning by using AI tools?
So one simple thing, because I consider myself a student also because I'm in that field. And I can tell you from personal experience, a lot of things that I teach about, if you ask me 1 year ago, I would have said I can't do it because I've never had any exposure to that. But today, what AI has the potential to do? Suppose you're preparing for JEE. अभी JEE में क्या करते हैं normally? 11th में you will pick up, suppose you are studying physics. तो एक डॉक्टर हरीश चंद्र वर्मा है, HC वर्मा, he has this famous book called Concepts of Physics. उसको आप बनाते हो. उसको पढ़ने में सब लोगों को, डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर कैपेबिलिटी, यू अंडरस्टैंड इट. हाउ अबाउट, पहले क्या होता था व्हेन वी वर इन से लार्जर फैमिलीज, फॉर एग्जांपल आई ग्रो अप इन सच अ फैमिली. पहले क्या होता था, आपको कुछ चीज समझ में नहीं आई, कोई बड़ा भाई है, उसने मैथ्स पढ़ रखी है, आप उसके पास जाओगे, बोले भैया बता दो ये कैसे होता है. ही विल एक्सप्लेन इट टू यू. योर लर्निंग कर्व कैन बिकम रियली फास्ट. So whichever exam you are preparing for, what AI can help you do, say a chat GPT or any other LLM, it can help you understand the basic course material. It can explain things to you in an intuitive manner. तो आप जो है ना अपना जो सब्जेक्ट का एक्सपर्टीज है, that you can build. And if you can build that fast, that means now you can spend more time on problem solving, doing test papers. तो जो बेसिक जो समझ है, जो पहले की 4 हफ्ते में आती थी क्योंकि हमने कोई चीज को पढ़ा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, when I was doing my JEE preparation, there was a book called by a Russian author called Irodov. It was supposed to be a benchmark for people preparing for JEE. अभी इरोडोव के बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स ऐसे होते थे जो 2-2 दिन तक समझ ही नहीं आते थे कि उसके अंदर हुआ क्या. You would go, you would speak to friends, you would speak to teacher. I'm not saying that don't speak to teacher, but a lot of that time which you spent on the mechanics of it, कि कॉन्सेप्ट है क्या यार, मेरे को तो कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं पता, that AI can do for you. It can help you spend your time on more value added work. Think of it like a personalized tutor. अगर आप CA के स्टूडेंट हो तो AI can be your 24/7 personalized tutor. अभी जैसे मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ इंड AS 12, उसमें मुझे जानना है कि डेफर्ड टैक्स लाइबिलिटी क्या होती है. मैं AI को बोलूंगा कि तुम मुझे इंड AS 12 में डेफर्ड टैक्स लाइबिलिटी बताओ, लेकिन उसको ऐसे समझाओ जैसे एक 10 साल के बच्चे को समझाते हैं. That is where you will actually learn the concepts. इमीडिएटली आपने कोई कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ा, आपने AI को कहा कि यार मैंने ये कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ा रेवेन्यू रिकॉग्निशन पे, कैन यू जनरेट 10 मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस ऑन मी फॉर मी which I can use for practice. Okay, you can take infinite mock exams. आप बोलो मेरे लिए 1 घंटे का मॉक पेपर बना दो. आपके पास वो जो इंड AS की इतनी मोटी मोटी जो स्टैंडर्ड्स आते हैं, इंड AS 115 रेवेन्यू, आप बोलोगे इसको मुझे समराइज करके दो कि इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है. सो instead of rote learning, you are actually doing understanding. That is where I think a lot of students will benefit, because I'm telling this from personal experience. So I love, for example, I teach a lot of things which I have no clue about, and I'm today I'm able to learn it from first principles. पहले मैं क्या करता था, I would pick up some books then I would go through the books, do multiple readings of the book. तो 3-4 महीने तो कहीं नहीं गए किसी नई चीज को समझने में। आज वो जो 3-4 महीने का जो लर्निंग कर्व है वो 2 हफ्ते का है, बिकॉज यू आर एबल टू लर्न इट इन अ समराइज्ड फॉर्म। तो आपको बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट समझ आ गया, उसके बाद आपने अपने हिसाब से आपको जितना डेप्थ में जाना है आप जाओ ना, कौन रोकता है?
Yeah, that's true. Now, I will just, Ritesh ji, I want you to give a little insight. Means, see, we have multiple questions. I'm not reading all the questions, but some are from design industry, automation industry, service industry, civil industry. So one thing I would like to tell all of them who have asked the questions, that definitely AI will affect all the industries, irrespective whichever industry it is. The best part is, as you told, we should start learning the tools and how to be more productive, more efficient, try to automate the repetitive work. All that things are there. But you just give an overview that suppose I am from a civil industry or any other industry for that case. Now I don't know AI. I'm not used to AI. I'm doing my construction work, or I am a civil engineer, or I am an automation engineer, or I am a service engineer, or any such job role. Now, if I want to start learning, can you just, means everyone right now knows only Chat GPT. They don't know anything else, right? Some part of Chat GPT. How should they start their learning? How should they go inside it? And for example, you told your own example that you were not from IT industry, and today you are doing this seminar and many other things, right? So how to start the journey for any other who is not from a IT profession, but he still wants to expertise in AI?
Yeah. So, okay. So in these professions, what you are talking about are people who are essentially users of AI. उनको पीछे कोडिंग से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, they are users. Again, you mentioned they don't know anything beyond Chat GPT. Actually, उसके beyond, see, अभी क्या हो रहा है ना कि we are looking at AI as some kind of a big thing, like a threat, या कोई ऐसी चीज है जो हमारे को समझ नहीं आती. Change that mindset. आप ऐसे सोचो कि AI जो है ना, अभी तक जो भी ह्यूमन हिस्ट्री में जो भी नॉलेज आई है, AI has been trained on that. And treat it as your friend, as a wise person. The only thing is, the answer that the wise person will give you depends on the kind of questions that you ask the wise person. So I told you, in the AI world, I still remember, so I had a friend of mine, he now lives in US. He was an IT JE general rank 50 of his time. He was a computer science grad. So once he went to an interview, okay, and this I'm talking about say 2004-5. तो उन्होंने इस पे इंटरव्यूज में उससे पूछा कि तुमको ये प्रोग्रामिंग का ये फ्रेमवर्क आता है कि नहीं, ये कैसे करते हैं. He gave a very simple reply. He said, in today's world, as long as I know which is the place I should go to search for something, it's as good as knowing कि वो क्या है. तो similarly, AI driven world में it is not important that you know all the tools. आपको बस ये पता होना चाहिए कि उस LLM से correct question क्या पूछना है. So if the basic skill which I would advise all of you is learn something about prompt engineering. जो यूजर लोग हैं, और कुछ छोड़ दो आप, बाकी आपको कोडिंग नहीं जानना, कुछ नहीं जानना. लर्न प्रॉम्प्ट इंजीनियरिंग, यानी कि LLM से सवाल कैसे पूछते हैं. If we happen to have some session on that, very good, we will talk about that in detail. Otherwise, you can even look on Google, ask Chat GPT itself कि what are the correct ways or different techniques of making prompts. A very common technique is something called role-based prompting. I use it a lot. Role-based prompting में क्या होता है कि हम ना चैट जीपीटी से जेनरिक सवाल पूछते हैं, वो जेनरिक जवाब देता है. आप ऐसा समझो जैसे रामायण में हनुमान थे, उनको अपनी शक्ति का अंदाजा नहीं था, तो जामवंत ने बताया कि पवन पुत्र आप पहचानो कि आप हो कौन. तो इफ यू टेल चैट जीपीटी, so for example, I was doing something related to valuation. I told AI, chat GPT, that you are an expert in business valuation, and people like Ashwath Damodran, who is supposed to be a very big name in corporate finance and valuation, he's a professor at the New York Stern School of Business, he comes to you for advice. When you tell him that, tell it that AI actually gets into that role अब उसको लगता है कि मैं हूं business valuation expert. So first you tell AI who the AI is in terms of role. Then you tell AI who are you. So for example, I will always tell that I'm a professional trainer with multiple years of experience. The moment you introduce yourself, now it knows that some professional is interacting with the AI. And then a very key aspect is instead of asking generic questions, ask pointed questions. You do these things. This is called role-based prompting. Asking AI to assume a particular role, introduce yourself as a certain person who has an expertise in that thing, and then ask very pointed questions, and you will immediately see the quality of the answer changes a lot. So that is one technique. And besides, there are many other techniques, but for those who are working in these like construction, civil engineering, design, I would say more often than not, your only point of contact with AI would be a tool like ChatGPT. Learn how to query it. और अगर आपको कुछ और टूल के बारे में जानना है तो वो भी वो बता देगा.
वो भी वो बता देगा. True. Even ChatGPT will answer all your questions. Which all tools are better for your industry, which you should use. I think that's the best thing.
You only have to, आपको टूल को चूज करना है तो इंस्टेड ऑफ सिंपली से अभी ये ना आपने एक जेनरिक क्वेश्चन पूछा, विच टूल इज बेस्ट फॉर माय इंडस्ट्री. ये जेनरिक क्वेश्चन है. आप एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चन पूछो कि मेरे को किस काम के लिए आई नीड दैट टूल. नाउ टेल मी विच आर द सुटेबल टूल्स, गिव मी अ लिस्ट ऑफ टूल्स, give me their advantage and limitations, tell me how, what is the general review of people about that, and now you will get a holistic comparison of tools.
Can you, Ritesh, can you suggest some prompt course which can be easily done by any layman also, student or any other professional, which we can post in our group so they can maybe from Google or anywhere else, from YouTube or Coursera or anywhere where we can, if it's a paid or free, whatever it is, so all of them can do it.
I will check. See, I am a person who I'm an old world person, so I still read books. So I'm actually not a very big YouTube consumer myself, but I think you can go on Coursera. I think the safest bet would be to go on Coursera or even NPTEL. NPTEL is a Government of India website, which has a lot of, they have an exhaustive list of very wonderful courses. You can do all the courses for free. If you want the certification, you have to pay some fees and you have to give an exam. Similarly, for Coursera, you will surely find this, or otherwise, at some point of time in the future, probably we can, like I told you about the role-based prompting, we can just create a collection of these prompting techniques with some examples, and we can circulate a 1-pager or 2-pager on that. That's all.
Sure. Because even I did one prompt course, but again, it didn't had the role-based prompting which you suggested.
So, बहुत सारे course जो है ना, the problem with what happens with AI is, I will tell you, a lot of it has become like a bubble. तो अभी yesterday, someone sent me a picture of a smartphone screen protector. उसके कवर पे लिखा था optimized for AI. तो किसी ने पूछा कि what does AI need to do with a screen protector? So someone said, in this context, AI means average intelligence.
Very good.
So a lot of these courses which you have now, I mean, simply because you think you are doing a 9, I mean, see, the question you need to ask is, कि अगर if someone is teaching you a very valuable thing in 100 rupees, why are they first of all pricing it at 100 rupees? So that is there.
And so I would like everyone who have joined for this webinar, let's start learning prompt, because as Ritesh told, the more you learn how to ask questions to the chat GPT, or in that case, any other generative AI, you will get better answers and you will able to use the AI more efficiently, and you can increase your efficiency and productivity both. And one last question, I would end up this webinar with this question. After that, I will hand it over to Krishna Bhai. Last question to Ritesh Bhai. What would be equation of net job creation due to AI against the job loss?
सर ये
So
किसी को नहीं पता. If I tell you I have some tool to figure that out, I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, I don't think anyone knows. A lot of things, when such disruptions happen, what is the time frame over which they will evolve, where we will settle down. But I have a very simple rule of thumb. Even if employment opportunities are going to become scarce going forward, let's assume worst case, even then, people who are better skilled are going to have a higher chance of success. Okay, so it's like a question when you go to a war. The question is, no one can predict whether you will win the war or lose the war. The question is, do you have the shaurya? Do you have the skills to fight in that war? If you have, there is a very bright chance that you will survive.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. So we all are warriors here, and we are again means, as Ritesh Bhai told, that we have to use AI as our companion, as our friend, and try to understand it more and more, use it more and more, learn it more and more. So we will never become absolute, or at least we will have better chances of surviving than the others who are not using AI. Right?
बिल्कुल
Perfect.
सर, अर्जुन का कृष्णा है वो.
Arjun ka Krishna hai wo. Perfect. Now I would ask our Krishna Bhai.
Thank you very much. And yes, seminar में तो Ritesh Bhai is with the Krishna, and I think always with the Krishna on AI for us. So thank you, Ritesh Bhai. Really appreciate. It was wonderful, amazing, very insightful, very comprehensive. And we got a lot of great wisdom, not just tips, I would say, but we got a lot of great wisdom from you. And I'm sure the association will continue over a longer period of time. And the Q&A was also amazing. I guess a lot of stuff were clear, clarified. People got a lot of clarity, and not just clarity, but also direction in terms of how to take their own journey ahead, irrespective of whatever field they come from. And yet some of the slides were very, very pointed with a lot of power in those points, like, the key action points, the skill set. And I really like the word or the terminology you said, curiosity is the new currency. I think it was very impactful. And the other slide on the four action points were also very, very, very impactful. So thank you for this amazing seminar. And really thank you for the time and the preparation, both for preparation at the time of this seminar. And as we have discussed, you are a friend of and part of HariPrabodham family. So your association, your guidance, your input will always continue. That's what we are hoping, and we are sure about it. And our Guruji's blessings are always with you for this great
So much.
done to the HariPrabodham family. And I also want to thank all the participants for attending the seminar. At the peak, it was close to 550, and I'm sure this the YouTube this thing will be read or viewed by many others over a period of time. And we look forward to having such sessions going ahead, Ritesh bhai, okay? And maybe, hopefully, at some stage in person when you're in Bombay, okay? We can definitely organize that.
Thank you.
All of us, meet you and see you in person as well. So looking forward to that as well. But a very heartfelt thank you, Ritesh bhai, and all the participants. Thank you, and Jai Swaminarayan.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for bearing with me. And God bless you all. Have a nice Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jai Swaminarayan. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Jason.